Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
Hello there, how's it going? I hope that all of you are safe and sound out there. It's been a long time since I wanted to make this video, and as it is my first video on a platform, I want to put some extra effort into it, and I do hope that you guys enjoy it. You might be wondering, Doom Eternal was released about 3 months ago. Why are you making a video on it now? Well, first of all, never is too late to talk about Doom, right? And I've seen several people that didn't play the game yet because they didn't feel compelled to or didn't have a great experience with Doom 2016. I don't know, but the point is, I truly think that you should give Doom Eternal another chance, and for those that didn't play yet, I will give you a reason to do so. Most of you might know that Doom was developed by id Software, the same guys that made Quake, Wolfenstein and Rage, and that had direct influence in games like Duke Nukem, Heretic, Blood, just to name a few. Not only that, but they always bring some groundbreaking features to the table every time that one of their big titles have a new release. Doom has everything that a concrete classic FPS must have. Lots of action, incredible visuals, incredible music, and good references, that in our case are the 80s and 90s shows and movies. And we can't forget about the thrash and heavy metal that inspired the soundtracks. Alright, now that the ground is settled, let's head to the main subject of the video. Doom Eternal has raised the bar for the FPS scene, and you might be asking, how? Well, this game does not necessarily create new concepts, but it took existing ones and rearranged them in a complete new way. It's just like taking the ingredients from a great recipe and mixing them in order to create something totally different. Let's say that, for example, you pick the ingredients from Gordon Ramsay beef Wellington and mix them into something out of the book. What would you have by doing this? Something good? Maybe yes, maybe no. Well, the point is, you should not change things for the sake of changing. You gotta know very well what you're doing in order to make it right. With great ingredients, there's great potential, but you gotta know how to find the synergy to do so. And this was done with mastery in this game. The main concepts we have in Doom Eternal are 6, and they are fast-paced combat, scaled combat difficulty, resource management, upgrades, self-awareness, and of course, short time for decision making. As I mentioned before, perhaps you already heard of some of these concepts, or maybe all of them. This time you are not simply shooting stuff at point blank like 2016. In this game, we have clear rules and logic behind the gameplay that are meant to be followed, and that by any means, if you choose to ignore them, the game will punish you. A lot. It's just like driving a race car in a straight line for the whole race. It's just not going to work. Since the first level of the game, you will be taught how to play, being taken by hand like a toddler in kindergarten, but eventually it will toss you out in the world and you will have to work it out for yourself. And that is where your learning experience really begins. And when I say learning experience, I say that, well, you will die a lot. But believe me, that's part of the plan. Like the game director Hugo Martin said,
and we don't mind killing you. That's how we teach the player. And every time you die in a well-balanced game, every time you die, you know why you died and you think you could do better. in a poorly balanced game, you feel like it's the game that screwed you and there was nothing else you could do. So whenever you die in Doom, there's probably something you did wrong and you'll feel it, and that'll encourage you to go back and try again and do better.
Now that we have already set the pace, let's try to figure out something here. What is the relation of Doom Eternal to a chessboard? If you said no, it will create an advantage or a disadvantage for you. The same principles work for your enemies. This new AI was designed to react based on your actions. In other words, the better you are in the game, so will they be. It means that as the game goes on, it compels you to be a better player, to the point that at their more advanced levels of the game, you will earn your black belt, so to speak, and perform moves that would make even Steven Seagal jealous. Okay, cool, great, but after all, how the hell this thing actually works? Well, glad you asked. Let's say that every enemy in the game is related to one or more pieces of the chessboard. And just like in Doom Eternal, where we have lower and high tier demons, we have the same principle applied on a chessboard, as we have lower and higher tier board pieces. When a pawn moves on the board, you can either defeat it with another pawn or use a higher tier piece to make the move. But the difference here is that we are talking about a game that, although have pieces, they don't respect and won't respect any kind of hierarchy or order whatsoever. They will come at you as they please, and here's where you have to look at your pieces and decide if you will move a mere pawn to the table or if it is time to pick a bishop and make a risky move. When you find yourself surrounded by enemies, you gotta think fast, otherwise they will finish you off in seconds, especially if you're out of resources, and that is a huge mistake that you will learn very early how expensive this mistake can be. In order to never run out of resources, always check your ammo, health and armor, and if they are below or close to 50%, you gotta bring them back up and fast. Now's the time to stick around and watch how to organize your board pieces to the combat. The equation is pretty simple on paper, but until you make it feel natural, it will take some time. Here's how you do it. If you're running low on HP, go for glory kills. Don't rely on health packs, they are scarce and therefore not reliable. Besides the glory kills, you have your blood punch, which has a rune that can be upgraded in order to your enemies to drop health when killed. The same applies to your armor. Use your flame belt whenever you lose armor. Believe me, it will save your ass if you use it correctly. In addition to your flame belt, your super shotgun has a flame hook that acts like a secondary armor source. Cool, right? Yeah, because this guy will be your best friend in the game once you unlock it. And of course, your ammo. Whenever you run out of ammo or are low on ammo, pick your chainsaw and cut down some demon meat to feed your weapons. Always look for the small guys like imps, gargoyles, soldiers and zombies in general, for they require only one fuel charge, differently from the bigger guys that require 3. And by the way, your chainsaw's fuel recharges by itself, but only up to 1 charge. If you want more than 1, you will have to look for it. In addition to the resources rule, there's another one that you might have heard about, and this one is the don't stand still rule. You heard that right. In Doom Eternal, standing still equals death. This game acts close and personal. Here's not a place to hide behind covers. Now's the time for you to learn how to use your mobility properly, and here I'm talking about constantly running, knowing where and how to jump and how to use your dash, because this move in particular will be your main mobility resource. Master your dash and you will be safe. Ish. Remember, your dash must be like your pants. Yeah, you can't go outside without them. At least you shouldn't. The gadgets. That's another rule that applies for you to always use your gadgets. Yes, always. you have a grenade that stun enemies, a flame belt that set enemies on fire and recover your armor, and an ice grenade that freezes your enemies, which, by the way, can be upgraded to cause your enemies to drop health when shot while frozen. And of course, you have your weapons. Each one of them is a unique tool, and just like every kind of tool, each one has a situation where it will perform better. About the weapons of choice, I must say that there's no such thing here. It all depends on your playstyle, really. But there's one thing in particular that you must learn though, and it is weapon switching. Learn this technique and you will benefit the most from your weapons. And at last, don't forget to exploit your enemy's weak points. Almost every single enemy in the game has a weak point. For example, the Arachnotron can have its turret destroyed when shot, and the Mancubus can have its cannons taken down as well. These are just two examples, but you can always check your codex for more information about the demons. And to wrap it up, you have your runes and your upgrades from your suit and your weapons. You'll find some of them at your fortress and others hidden through the game. Always search for these because they will certainly bring your game to another level. If you keep it up, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more videos and analysis of your favorite games. So, here we have our pieces and a quick glance how to use them. But what about the demons? Well, there are basically 5 types of demons that we're gonna encounter on this game. The front line, like imps, gargoyles and hell knights, that will run at you in groups almost every time. None of them is an actual problem when they are alone, but if they are in groups, you better watch out. Seekers, demons that will be always seeking you and shooting at you, keeping you on your toes, like Arachnotrons, Mancubus, Cyber Mancubus, Cacodemons and Pain Elementals. The pressure units, aka the big boys, like Barons, Doom Hunters, Marauders and Tyrants. These guys will literally delete you if you don't pay attention. Decoys, enemies that will cause distraction so the other guys can reach you. Here we have Carcasses, Prowlers, Pinkies and Specters. And there's the Archvile. Basically nothing to say about this fucker. Just kill it at sight, otherwise he will summon an army of demons on steroids after you and it will be basically game over. And yes, of course, we have Whiplashes, Dread Knights and Revenants. I didn't pick these guys because I literally hate them to death. So yeah, they are out. Alright, lots of talk and lots of concepts, but what about the actual gameplay? Well, let's take a quick glance on how these concepts are used in combat. Here at the first level you can see me using all the principles and concepts that we talked about so far, with exception of the dash and the blood punch, for these are acquired on the second level of the game. Now, a little further into the game, you can see all the principles and concepts being put to the use constantly. Remember, not following the game's rules will cause you to end up dead. And as you progress in the game, it will get harder and harder, which means that you will have each time less and less room for error. And finally, we have a Slayer Gate. This is an optional challenge that will certainly put up a fight. In this encounter, you will face all the strongest demons you met so far in the game. And if you manage to complete the challenge, you will have your Slayer degree raised to another level. Well, I believe that all of you guys got the idea by now. Doom Eternal is a game that combines everything that is awesome about an FPS game and mix it up with logical thinking, strategy, impeccable soundtrack and lots of action. And of course, everything happens at 200 miles per hour. I believe that at this point it's quite clear why this game is so unique and why you should give it a chance, especially if you like FPS games. I'm sure that this title will be a reference from now on, and I can't wait for the DLC that will eventually come up in the next months, and that will be also covered on this channel. Alright, we are finally at the end of the video. If you're still here, first of all, thank you for your time and engagement. It was a pleasure to make this video for you. If you guys enjoyed, please like, subscribe, leave a comment and tell me if you like this format or you guys would also like some gameplay as well. Thanks a lot for watching and until next time.